Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Ripple executives state list of demands to end XRP lawsuit. And by the way, among their demands is that Ripple executives end up having a jury trial rather than just summary judgment, in which the judge in the case, Judge Torres, would make a unilateral decision in terms of the outcome. So you got to sit there and wonder, why is that? Well, I suspect it may be due to the fact that Ripple's attorneys think that this is such a slam dunk that why put it in the hands of just one person, just the judge? Why not just have a whole crew of people just to be safe? Because the vast majority of humans that come across this information will come to the same conclusion that I've come to and that you listening to this have come to undoubtedly, which is that the SEC is in the wrong here. This is purely regulation by enforcement, and this, as John Deaton has said many times, Attorney John Deaton has said, this prosecution, this litigation, it's being used as a weapon. Also, I have some new comments from Attorney John Deaton on our good friend Billy Boy Henman. Since a couple days ago, I'm sure most of you are aware at this point, there's some very damning emails that came out that indicate he just completely disregarded the ethics office as it pertains to his interactions with his former employer, Simpson Thacher, who then became his employer yet again. So it looks like he was skirting the system in the way that he was getting paid by them also while he was at the SEC, claiming he was retired from them, but that was just to get around it was basically a loophole so that he could get paid by them, which would otherwise be illegal because you can't work there while you're at the SEC. And that's what it looks like, because what else? And then you go straight back to them? Lots of questions here, so plenty to talk about, but before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto topics, but just as a hobby, and just for fun. Damn it. And in we go. And so this is an add-on to a video that I put out the other day. Both Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson had 100-plus page filings from their attorneys, and they really stuck it to the SEC. They did an excellent job making their case. And I'm not going to highlight the stuff that I already highlighted, but there's so much in those 100-plus page documents. There's more to talk about here. But part of what I did highlight, just to kind of set the table here, is that Brad and Chris's attorneys, they just shredded the SEC's application of the Howey test. It was complete garbage the way that they're applying it. But anyway, piece begins as follows. The much-awaited individual defendants' answers have been filed, thus fixing the headline for the SEC's position on additional discovery to April 15th, 2022, and the deadline for the joint proposed scheduling order to April 22nd, 2022. Now, both the Brad Garlinghouse response and the Chris Larson answers mostly deny the SEC's allegations or state the defendants lack sufficient knowledge to either admit or deny the allegations. So as a pause to note, there's a series of 440 answers for Brad and 442 for Chris Larson, as this article points out a little bit later on. And a lot of them are just basic questions. And I'd learned from Jeremy Hogan, attorney Jeremy Hogan, of course runs the very popular YouTube channel Legal Briefs. This is just part of the process, and it can be all sorts of things which really aren't necessarily going to be disputed by either party. It's just to set the record straight so there aren't any questions once the trial actually begins. It's like, if you were in a car accident, do you agree the car was a Ford Taurus? You know, so on and so forth. It could just be very factual things. But of course, there are things that are a bit more contentious, so those are in there as well. But there are hundreds of these to be answered, and that's why these documents were so gigantic, over 100 pages each, as I mentioned. Anyway, article continues. The documents also express what the individual defendants want from the court as to put an end to the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Pressure on the SEC has mounted tenfold since yesterday's revelations that the agency was aware of Bill Hinman's full financial conflict of interest with his old firm, and that he disregarded internal advice in order to meet people at Simpson Thacher or clients several times. Yeah, pause to say, again, you just wait till I get to the second part of this video where I'm going through what John Deaton had to say. He paints a pretty damn clear picture. Something is not right, and there's a reason that this has the appearance of criminal intent. And then there's this little subheading in this article: SEC not entitled to release. Garlinghouse's list of 440 answers and Larson's thread of 442 answers end with a similar statement, which reads as follows. Actually, I just pulled up from this is the actual prayer for relief for Brad Garlinghouse, and it reads as follows. So here's the demands. Plaintiff's prayer for relief and judgment, including sections 1 through 5, does not require a response, but to the extent any response is necessary, Mr. Garlinghouse denies that plaintiff is entitled to the requested relief and judgment, or to any relief whatsoever, and therefore requests that the court, number 1, dismiss the action with prejudice, number 2, enter judgment in favor of the defendants against plaintiff with respect to all causes of action in the complaint, number 3, award Mr. Garlinghouse his attorney's fees and all other costs reasonably incurred in defense of this action, and number 4, award Mr. Garlinghouse any other relief as the court may deem just and proper. So, what does he mean by number 4? Any additional relief? Presumably that would be cash and prizes. So, assuming that this goes in favor of Mr. Garlinghouse, he's asking to, if the court would just maybe throw some extra money our way from that sweet, sweet SEC money. And even though it's taxpayer funds, I'll tell you what, the SEC, they are such a bunch of asshats, I don't even think I'd mind at this point. Seriously, the way I view it is that Ripple and XRP holders have been harassed by the SEC and attacked since December 22nd of 2020. That's the way it looks to me, so whatever. And now, I do want to correct one thing, too. This article got wrong. They state the following regarding the jury trial. Additionally, the individual defendant said, admitted, this is like a broken sentence, I'll just read it as it's written. Additionally, the individual defendant admitted that the SEC demands a trial by jury. Such a trial would lead to further delays in a case that was filed over a year ago, and is holding back for one of the most prominent blockchain companies in the world, as well as one of the leading digital assets by market capitalization. Okay, so they didn't make it clear why a jury trial would stretch this out further, but I'm not convinced that this is the case unless I hear that from one of the attorneys within our community, because they know I don't have a legal background. But it's not just the SEC that's demanding a jury trial. Here, I'll highlight it. Here you go. Here you can see on page 102. Demand for jury trial. Mr. Garlinghouse hereby demands a jury trial for all issues so tribal. So I just thought I'd correct it. Finance Feeds is fantastic, but they did get that little tidbit wrong. Brad Garlinghouse, he does want a jury trial. And again, like I said, what would the reason be? Like I've said so many times in this damn channel, like, you just take a person that's unbiased and doesn't know anything about crypto or blockchain, get them caught up to speed on anything that's necessary to get them caught up to speed on. Just give them the facts of the case, at least as we know them to this point. We don't have all the evidence, obviously, but everything that's publicly available, give them that. They're going to end up on our side. It's very clear the SEC is in the wrong. It looks like a slam dunk. It does. So, anyway, now here's what Attorney John Deaton had to say. Going back to this idea of potential criminal intent on the part of former SEC Director Billy Boy Hinman, here's what Attorney Deaton had to say. Eric Lipton is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who wrote a great story on this case some time ago. So I'll just pause to note. It was in November of last year, and I actually highlighted this. I made a video about this. Eric Lipton made a story covering the SEC versus Ripple case and also interviewed John Deaton, took some questions down, and it like the interview wasn't the entire thrust of the article, but things that John Deaton said ended up making it into the article, and it's just another instance where I was like, yes, it's great to see this in mainstream media. And so anyway, John wrote the following. To his credit, in the story, he acknowledged claims related to conflicts of interest. I remember discussing the $15 million paid to Hinman in retirement benefits. I responded that it's very easy to classify ongoing payments as retirement and skirt the rules. We now have clear proof that is exactly what occurred. Hinman had a financial interest in the ongoing success of his law firm while simultaneously being employed by the SEC. So pause. That's what I was saying at the outset of the video. If he just said, no, I'm still employed at this law firm, the answer is no. So what did he do to get around that? Because he He may very well have known that once he was done working at the SEC that he'd want to go right back there. Those are his friends and buddies after all. So how can they pay him as though he's still an employee, but he's not technically an employee? He gets retirement income. And I'll tell you what, it's an outrageous amount of money, especially considering he came right on back. $15 million? Doesn't have the appearance of a payoff. Look, I'm not saying I know for sure the intent. I can't get in the hearts and minds of these people here, in particular Hinman. But doesn't it look shady as hell? I'd say yeah. John Deaton continues. As chairman, Clayton blessed the plan to bypass the ethics rules. It is now well settled that Clayton and Hinman's law firms were directly tied to Ethereum. Is it a coincidence that Clayton was the only commissioner to receive and give input in the Ether free pass speech? Crypto mom herself, Hester Peirce, SEC commissioner of course, didn't get an advanced copy of the speech or provide any input. The commissioner, dubbed Crypto Mom by the community itself, was left out of the biggest crypto speech in history? Ethics informed Hinman he couldn't have contact with his law firm. He repeatedly violated this directive. What would ethics say if it was informed Simpson Thacher was a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance and Hinman planned on gratuitously giving Ethereum a regulatory-free pass? They told him he couldn't go to a dinner if his former partners were present. And why? Well, the ethics office basically determined they weren't former partners of his, but constituted current partners due to his ongoing financial interest with them. They warned him of a criminal bar. So folks, pause. This isn't some sort of conspiracy theory. We've been saying that, and John Deaton's been shouting it. He's been talking about Title V, which is what applies to this, the potential criminality. We've been saying this since before we found out that he was warned by the ethics office that this could be an actual criminal action if they didn't take the ethics office advice. So he knew this. And when we were saying this, we're like, this is what this looks like. And I stepped a hair short because I want to be responsible as possible here. And I said, I'm not insisting that he did something illegal. I don't know that for sure, but it sure as hell looks bad. That's what I've been saying. And I'll still say that just to be extra safe here, but what the hell else would it be? It makes you wonder, right? It sure as hell looks like he knew what he was doing was illegal, and he's like, screw it. I'm Bill Hinman. I do what I want. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, Ethereum. Blah, 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 blah. Tastes so good. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I imagine he says. And I've heard him speak, but like that's what runs through my head when I think about him. This guy, man. It's just the arrogance, and then the fact that he used his SEC email to coordinate these presumably illegal meetings, according to the ethics office, rather than his personal email. The arrogance to think that you could do that and you're just not going to get caught, or if you got caught, there would never be any consequences? Well, I don't know for sure if there's going to be consequences, but this should be investigated further. Shouldn't it? I sure as hell think so. And then John Deaton wrote, Clayton became a CNBC contributor, and Becky Quick and Joe Squawk, so this is the Joe Kernan on the Squawkbox, official Twitter account for Squawkbox is Joe Kernan, and Becky Quick also with CNBC. Clayton became a CNBC contributor, and Becky Quick and Joe Kernan and Andrew Sorkin have decided to not report the story. How many times in history have thousands, 66,127,000 to be exact, petitioned a court asking to be sued? Apparently that's not newsworthy at CNBC. This isn't a conspiracy theory. The ethics office itself was concerned and exchanged terse emails with Hinman. Read the Grunfest letter. He's no conspiracy theorist.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.